Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing this look. Basically, I looked up PatrickStarr's very first video that I looked up. I looked up a brown smoky eye on YouTube and he popped up and I decided to follow his tutorial and I absolutely loved it. It was back in like 2014 and I had been following him on Instagram before, but I didn't know he had a YouTube channel, and I ended up following him and I love all of his content and I just love Patrick. I think he's absolutely amazing and he's just so open and honest, and he just seems so genuine. So I wanted to do a sort of tribute to him. This is a brown smoky eye. That's the very first video that I saw of him, so I wanted to kind of recreate it and you know, just show him some love. I used his powder, I used both of his palettes, and I used the MamaStarrr gloss and lipsticks. If you would like to learn how to achieve this look, go and watch his video, because this is just a tutorial based off of what he taught me. So if you guys haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video. If you would like to learn how to achieve this look, then keep on watching. So before I put on the foundation, I'm going to go ahead and put the primer on. This is the Porefessional primer by Benefit, and I'm going to use this all over my face. I'm applying this basically on the more porous areas of my face, which is my T-zone, my nose, my forehead. So let's get some foundation on this face. I'm going to go ahead and put on the Tarte Amazonian Clay Full Coverage Foundation in the color Medium Sand, and I'm going to mix it with my U.F.O oil that I mix every foundation with. I tend to break out at the end of the day whenever I do have foundation on, so this has helped me out a lot. If you have acne prone skin and you notice that your skin is breaking out at the end of the day when you have foundation or any face products on, this really helps out a lot. So I'm mixing the two in just this little stainless steel bowl. So I'm putting on foundation. And I'm using a Morphe G2 to go ahead and buff that into my skin. I found that taking your time with blending is really important, because if you hold out on the blending, it's not gonna be as smooth and it's not gonna look that, you know, full coverage. So it does look full coverage, but if you want it to be sort of seamless and just look like skin rather than you having like a ton of foundation on, then it's gonna look a lot better. It's just gonna look less cakey, even though this is a really full coverage foundation. If you really buff it into the skin, I find that it's that it looks a lot better. So I'd rather use like this really thick foundation with a brush, because if you do it with just like a sponge or a beauty blender, they absorb the foundation, but they also just like let it sit on the skin. So I find that buffing it into the skin is just, it gives a better result. I'm just patting on any excess foundation from the brush and just patting it in. I don't want to add any more product. Okay, now to spot conceal, I'm going to go ahead and put the MAC Select Cover Up Concealer. This is in the shade NC30, and I'm just going to apply it anywhere that I need any additional coverage. So I'm just lightly patting it onto wherever I need additional coverage. With that same brush, just applying that on my dark spots, which are pretty much everywhere, but just neutralizing everything else. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and conceal my under eyes and prime my eyelids. I'm going to go ahead and use the Tarte Shape Tape. This is in the color light medium, and I think I'm going to go in with a little bit of light neutral under the eyes just to highlight a little bit more and give it a brighter look. My chin, Cupid's bow, forehead. I'm running out of this. And with the light neutral, and just putting on just a little bit. Now with a small airbrush concealer brush. This is a Sephora. It was a Sephora collection that I bought it from. I'm just gonna go ahead and pat that in and blend it out. And down the nose. I'm taking the light medium on my eyes too. Just a little bit because I don't want it to crease. Put that on there. Okay, now to set everything, I'm going to go ahead and use the first thing off of Patrick's line, which is the powder. I'm really excited to use this. I did use it on a client of mine for a wedding, and it looked really, really nice on her. So she was really concerned about it settling into her lines, and it actually worked really well, and she was actually looking into buying it herself. So it looked really, really nice on her. I'm just taking a little bit into the cap. And I'm going to go ahead and set my concealer under my eyes. And I think I'm going to bake this time just because I'm going to be doing my eyes and I'm doing a dark shadow look. So I don't want it to have any fallout. So I'm taking a damp sponge and just running it under my eyes. I'm setting my eyelids too. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and bake a little bit with this under my eyes. So if you don't know what baking is just applying a heavy amount of powder on certain areas that you want to stand out in your makeup. You can set the areas that you highlighted or under the eyes is the most popular area. I'm also just going to set the rest of my face with just the rest of the powder that's on the sponge. I'm not going to go heavy all over my face. Although Patrick does, and he can pull it off really, really well. I love the way his skin looks after he's applied everything. He can work it. He can really apply as much powder as he wants, and it's going to look flawless either way. So the look that I wanted to do today is I wanted to recreate his brown smoky eye. Or I actually looked up on YouTube how to do a brown smoky eye, and he was maybe the first or second one that I saw, and this was the very first video that I had seen of him. I had been following him before on Instagram when he worked at MAC, but this one here is the very first video that I actually watched of his. So I want to go ahead and recreate the look that he did on the very first video that I looked up. So that's why I wanted to do this video. Just in honor of him and in respect to his collection with MAC. There are a few shades that he used that I don't have, so I am going to be using like other palettes just with a similar tone, just so that I could recreate the look that he did. But I am going to be using his Glam AF palette, and I think I'll probably use Goal Getter too. I think there's soft brown is in here too, so I'm going to be using both palettes today. Okay, so the first shade I'm going to go in with is from the Goal Getter palette, and it's in soft brown. So it's really light brown right here, and I'm going to use this as my transition shade. And by the way, this is a Sigma E25. It's my favorite. I'm using this as a transition shade. It's really, really pretty and very easily blendable. This really isn't a review because it's pretty obvious that MAC is awesome at all of their eyeshadows, and they're pretty consistent. I love MAC shadows. They're really easy to blend. They're really easy to work with. It's really hard for anyone to really compete with them, but price point, they're pretty much right in the middle. Some products can be expensive, but there are a lot of companies that are way more expensive than MAC. So for the price point, it's pretty amazing. Their quality of products are pretty awesome. The next shade that he used was Uninterrupted, but I don't have it. I don't have that shadow, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the Jaclyn Hill palette and use Pukey. I'm going to go ahead and run that also in my crease. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this color a little bit lower than the soft brown, and I'm going right on my crease, nowhere above it. So the goal is to go from light down to dark. So I'm just going a little bit lower than that soft brown and just working that into my crease. Just small circular motions just to blend it out, but I don't want to blow it all the way out because that soft brown is still peeking through. For my lid, I'm going to go ahead and mix Swiss chocolate and Embark and applying that to my lid. I'm taking a flat E55 brush by Sigma and applying that right on the lid. Now, I have been following PatrickStarr for a really long time. I just adore him. I love that he is just himself. He just seems so genuine, and that's what I really love about him. And he embraces everybody. He embraces, you know, being different, and he just inspires everybody to be themselves and unapologetic, and I really love that about him. And he's just such an influence on a lot of kids, but also myself. He just makes it known that it's okay to be a little bit different, but to embrace it and to just go for your dreams. And that's what I really love about him. I know that after I watched this tutorial, I binged on all of his videos, and I've watched pretty much every single video that he's put out. I love all of it. I think my favorite one was his Cinderella story. The Cinderella story really spoke to me, and it really allowed everybody to get to know him. It really inspired me to, you know, start my own channel and really embrace who I was too. I mean, I'm still working on that, but I was just really influenced by that video, and I just love him so much. Okay, so now that they're just about as even as I'm going to get them, I'm going to go in again with the E25 by Sigma, and I'm going back in with this Pukey color by Jaclyn. Take a little bit of that and blend these edges in. Stick that in my socket and just blend that out. We want it to be a nice gradient, so we don't want it to be super harsh like this. We just want it to like go darker as you go further down. And blending takes some time. Try to be patient with it. I know that it gets annoying, but it takes a little bit of time, so time and patience. I'm just applying a little bit more on the lid, because whenever you blend, you tend to lose the intenseness. Okay, so on the lower lash line, I'm gonna go in with soft brown, and I'm gonna apply that along the lower lash line. Because the top is really heavy, we wanna kind of even it out on the bottom. So doing the lower lash line, please don't be afraid of doing that, because it's gonna look really nice and even. And if you don't like it, then it looks good either way. I like both ways. A lot of people, you know, cringe when you don't put shadow on the lower lash line, but sometimes I don't, and I like the way that it looks. So it's up to you if you want to do this, but since it's pretty smoky, that's what I'm going to do. With a little bit of a smaller brush, this is the Morphe E36, I'm going to go ahead and put Swiss chocolate right above that soft brown. And just go back in with soft brown and just blend that. For eyeliner, I'm going to go ahead and use the Wet n Wild Kohl eyeliner. This is in the color Pretty in Mink. And I'm going to go ahead and apply that on my waterline. I'm just going to go back in and kind of smudge out that liner a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes and apply a little bit of mascara. One coat is fine since I'm going to be applying some lashes. The lashes I'm going to go ahead and apply are the Camille lashes, House of Lashes in Sephora. collab, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that with the House of Lashes eyelash adhesive. Okay, so now that I've applied my lashes, I'm going in with the NYX Stay Matte but Not Flat powder, and this is in the shade Soft Beige. I'm going in with a Morphe E34, and I'm just going to go ahead and set my foundation. Now to sweep off the powder from my from under my eyes, I'm going to go in with the Mally Liquifuse Powder Foundation in Light, and this is in just an e.l.f. blush brush, and I'm going to go ahead and sweep off that powder from the under eyes. I really love his powder. It doesn't yeah, it didn't allow anything to crease, and I don't look cakey. Like, it looks really, really nice. I'm gonna have to have some backups, girl. Backups. Now for bronzer, I'm gonna go in with the Cheek Parade palette by Tarte. I'm taking Hoola and applying that to my cheeks. And I'm taking a Morphe M402. It's a huge brush. And I'm just kind of sweeping upwards. I'm getting my chin and my jawline. I think I'm going to go ahead and contour a little bit with the Hoola Light. I'm going to contour my nose just slightly. Now for blush, I'm going to go ahead and apply MAC Melba. And I'm going in with very, very little of this. I don't want it to be too much. For my brows, I'm going to go in with the NYX Micro Pencil in the color Ash Brown. I'm just going to fill in the sparse areas. Just very little. I'm just setting it with a little bit of brow gel. I'm going to go ahead and set my face with the Urban Decay To Slick. Now with the mini fan brush, I'm going to go ahead and do my lashes, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of mascara onto the little lash fan brush, I guess, and apply this to my non-existent lashes. I found that using a lash fan brush is a lot easier for me. Since I have really small lashes, I feel that any wand, even no matter how small it is, I think the very smallest one that actually works for me is the NYX Cosmetics Tightline mascara, which I ran out of. I need to get more of that one, but that's the only one that works for me. But this lash fan brush is actually really good. I like this for applying mascara to my lower lash line. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and put on Patrick's lipstick. This is the MamaStarrr shade, and I really love this. Now on top of that, I'm going to go ahead and put the MamaStarrr gloss. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and like this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!